No
This food
problem.
have the price. Mandy is going to put up a couple of questions, I believe. They're coming through on swap cards, so it's a little bit of a different thing, but
Hi, I'm Fred Greene from Martin Guitar. Welcome to our live stream for NAMM this year, 2021. It felt like 2020 was never going to end, but here we are moving into a new year. We're going to talk about a lot of very, very cool guitars. I know everybody wants to hear about the Dave Gilmour. Believe me, it's an awesome piece, and we will get to it. But we're going to start with the OOL Earth guitar. The OOL Earth guitar that we're presenting for this year, it's all mahogany back and sides, but it's not just plain mahogany, it's FSC mahogany. So for those of you who don't know what that is, the Forest Stewardship Council, they go ahead and certify woods to make sure that it's being forested in a responsible manner. So all the mahogany on the back and sides of this guitar are FSC certified, as is the Sitka top. Now, one other piece that makes this particular guitar completely interesting is that there is no plastic on the guitar. So in many cases, people try to do environmental guitars, but the guitar has a lot of plastic or other materials on it that sort of work against what you're trying to do there. In this particular case with the OOL Earth, it's the bone nut, the bone saddle, no plastic anywhere. Where we could avoid plastic on the guitar, we did. And then we went and contacted Robert Getzel to paint a picture on the front of the guitar that sort of gave the message we wanted to, that hey, we're looking at the earth in a different way, from a distance in a much bigger, holistic manner. This beautiful piece of artwork that Robert came up with, we think looks fantastic on the top of the guitar. It's a gorgeous piece. It's very striking when you see it in person. And not only that, it's a great playing guitar. It sounds great. And of course, it has all the Martin quality that you've come to expect from our company. Let's hear Craig Thatcher play a little bit on the OOL Earth guitar. Next up is Martin's Concert Uke FSC. Now this ukulele is built for the serious ukulele player. Built in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, where all of our ukes have been built since 1929 when we first started building ukuleles. This all FSC certified mahogany concert uke sports a soft lacquer finish over top of that mahogany. It gives it a very beautiful golden glow. Looks fantastic. It's an ebony fingerboard and bridge. Premium materials all the way through. We're using ratio tuners, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the ratio tuner, it looks like an ebony friction peg from the front of the ukulele, but actually it's geared, so behind it there's gearing in there for precision. It makes it much easier to tune, and it will hold the tune better than a friction peg will. But the good news there is they're not heavy, so it doesn't make the ukulele feel heavy, because as you know, it's a small instrument and a little bit of weight goes a long ways. So because this is an FSC piece, it's not only good for your ears, it's good for the planet. It's a beautiful ukulele for the serious ukulele player. Let's hear Ramin play a little bit on the Concert Uke FSC. Next up is Martin's OXK Concert Ukulele, the perfect starter ukulele. Made from HPL, which is Martin's high pressure laminate, and finished with our new highly figured koa pattern, which we introduced last year. This ukulele looks way more expensive than it is. But because it's made from HPL, you can take it anywhere without any worry. You don't have to worry as much about spilling something on it. You can take it backstage, you can take it camping, you can leave it in the car. It all works. It's a great starter piece. If you have somebody who's looking to getting into playing stringed instruments, this is the way to go. This is the ukulele you want to take. Let's hear Craig play the OXK concert ukulele. Next up is Martin's T1 Uke Streetmaster, a beautiful all solid mahogany ukulele, just like the ukes Martin's been making since 1929. It's adorned in our ultra thin Streetmaster finish. So this instrument has that weathered appearance that makes you want to keep picking it up every time you see it laying around. There's a nice single rosette around the sound hole, like a lot of our older vintage ukuleles that we have, like where I'm here in our museum right now. It does have the lightweight ratio tuners that we spoke about earlier, which look like friction pegs, but they're actually geared tuners for precision and for reliability. This uke is the perfect uke for a guitarist, somebody who's been playing for a little while. They want to get into some uke music. They want a solid wood instrument. It's mahogany. It's something they're used to. It has that great feel. It's a good scale length. It's a lot of fun. And that Streetmaster finish with that worn finish, it just feels like something you want to pick up. It has that weathered look, and it's like an old leather jacket that you've owned for a long time and you just want to keep wearing it over and over again. Craig, it's time to play the T1 Streetmaster uke. Next up is Martin's D Junior 10E Streetmaster. Here we've combined two winning formulas. We've got our D Junior body size, which is a Sapelli back, sides, and top. We've had a lot of success with that, all solid wood. Makes this guitar a great player, a beautiful piece. But now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna combine it with our Streetmaster finish that up until this point, we've only produced on guitars in our Nazareth factory. So this will be the first time we're actually using this finish package out of Mexico. That finish, as some of you know, because we've used it on our older 15 models now and had a lot of success with that, it just has that worn, soft feel to it. When you pick this guitar up, it's like spending time with an old friend. It feels super familiar. It doesn't feel like you're moving into something new. This guitar has a nice small size, so you can take it with you anywhere you go, whether you're out camping, in the car, whatever you want. And I also want to mention that this guitar has the Fishman Sonotone in it with a USB port in the pickup. So if you want to record on your computer, you have a USB port that you can go directly from the guitar right into your computer, your iPad, or whatever you're using. It's a beautiful little guitar. Craig, it's time to hear the D Junior 10E Streetmaster. Next up is Martin's Grand J 16E 12-string. As some of you may know, the Grand J body shape incorporates a rather large 17-inch top. But unlike the other Grand Js we've done in the past, this one is housed in our 16 series line, which means it has the body depth of a triple oak. Now that's particularly good for somebody who's looking for a guitar that sounds big but doesn't feel so big when you're playing it, because it makes it much easier for you to reach around it and go ahead and get over the top of this guitar and play it. Now it comes with East Indian rosewood back and sides and a beautiful Sitka top. What's interesting about the top is that it's braced with 3-tone bars instead of 2. So these 3-tone bars are progressively scalloped from the high point near the bridge, getting thinner as it moves out towards the edges. That's very different than anything we've done on any of our 12-string guitars in the past. This was sort of inspired by Tim Teal, one of our master designers, as he was thinking about actually an old Guild 12-string from the 1970s. What else is different about this guitar is it's a 25.4-inch scale length. Many of our other Martin 12 strings are actually 24.9 scale length, so it's a longer scale length. So the combination of the large soundboard, the progressive scalloping, and the longer scale length give this 12 string a big piano-like tone. So it's a big piano soundboard up there with all these strings on it. Sounds fantastic. It comes with a pickup. It's a Fishman Matrix VT Enhance NT2. Craig, this is your cue, buddy. Let's hear a little bit on the Grand J 16E 12 string. Next up is Martin's Zeracote models. The first thing you will notice about the 13E Zeracote models, both a GPC and a D body shape, is the striking Zeracote back and sides. So Zeracote will remind you a lot of Brazilian rosewood. It has these dark inky lines, these beautiful chocolate browns that run through it, and these really sort of ghostly gray hues that go through the wood. So Zeracote is known for its sort of big, bassy sound. It doesn't have much mid-range, so it's low in the mid-range, and high again on the trebles. So it has a very scooped sound. It's a very rare wood. We use it a lot in the custom shop for custom shop instruments. But the question may be, how are we able to put this expensive wood on a 13 series model? Well, we're doing that by using fine veneers. So the Zeracote is actually 2 pieces of Zeracote with a piece of Kaya, which is mahogany, or an African mahogany sandwiched in between. Now, many other companies, when they will do a veneer product, they will use a cheaper wood in the center, such as a poplar or maple or something that's not really meant to help the tone. But hey, we're Martin Guitar, we're all about the tone, so we made sure we had toned woods top, back, and in the middle on our fine veneer. The top is a Sitka top, and you'll notice that on the sound hole, the rosette is an acrylic mother of pearl rosette, which is something a little bit different on this particular guitar. And it does have a pickup. It's a Fishman MXT pickup, and with that comes with a sound hole tuner. So when you engage the tuner, it automatically mutes the guitar. Now it's time to hear the 13 series Zeracote models from Craig Thatcher. Now the moment everybody's been waiting for, you've been hanging around waiting for this. We're going to talk about the Dave Gilmour. Let's start with the 6-string piece. First off, it's an incredible guitar. As everyone knows, Dave has played a Martin D35 for a long time on a lot of famous songs. And he really wanted to create something special and new. So this guitar is a sinker mahogany 35 style. So it's a 3-piece back, sinker mahogany 35 style. We used a protein glue to put the top together on it. And what's unique about the top, it's an Adirondack top with Adirondack braces using a golden era style bracing pattern. So it's got a very vintage sound to it. There is a combination of some of the pieces and parts that we've used on Modern Deluxe, such as the carbon fiber bridge plate. This is something that Dave specifically chose for this guitar. We gave him options both ways, and he liked it with the carbon fiber bridge plate. There's a nice, beautiful herringbone inlay around the top. There's a stamp on the back of the peg head that makes this very, very unique, the Martin stamp on the back of the peg head. And the neck shape. The neck shape is very unique on this guitar. It's very different. We sent a lot of necks to Dave. This is the one that he kept coming back to. He asked for some small changes. If you're looking for something to compare it to, it's probably closest to a full thickness Martin neck. The sides carry a little bit of width at the edges, and then it sort of tapers just a hair around the cheeks of the neck to give it a little bit more of a V feel. It does come with a signed label on the inside, which is very rare to have Dave's name or Dave Gilmour's signature. This is limited to 250 pieces total between the 6-string and the 12-string. Let's hear Craig Thatcher play a little bit on the Dave Gilmour 6-string 35. Now let's talk specifically about the David Gilmour 12-string. It too is a sinker mahogany 35 style using protein glue for construction, just like the 6-string. However, the top on this guitar is very different. This uses a Carpathian spruce top with Sitka braces. Very, very different than the 6-string. Once again, coming with the herringbone inlay on the top. A shorter scale length on the 24/9 scale because it is a 12-string. It is stamped on the back of the peg head, just like the 6-string, and it does also come with the signed David Gilmour label on the inside. And once again, limited to that 250. There aren't many out there. They're very collectible. Hey, the last David Gilmour I saw come up for auction went for $1 million. So get yours quickly. Let's hear Craig Thatcher play a little bit of the Dave Gilmour 12-string. All right, hello everybody. Well, I figured I'd walk upstairs where I could have the 00L and the Dave Gilmour's behind me, and also I could look out the window. It's snowing here in Nazareth, Pennsylvania right now, so we're definitely not in Anaheim, California anymore. So this is the Q&A section of our presentation today, so I want to go ahead and go through a few things. Please get your questions in. I'll read them over here on the screen, and then I'll try to answer them as best I can. First up, I kind of like to go through the pricing of what we have. So the 00 Earth guitar that you saw is $2249. The Dreadnought Junior is $699. The Grand J is $2,099. The Zeracote 13s are $1,200. The OXK Uke is $299. The T1 Uke is $449. The Concert Uke is $23.99. And both the Gilmours are $54.99. So there you go. Go ahead and get your questions in, and I will do my best to answer them as fast as I can. Let's see, somebody, do we have a question? I'm sure they're typing madly right now. All right, guys. Let's see. Adam Somerville, the D Junior. You must have a preamp built in there, right? For the D Junior? Let me see, let me look through my notes real quick on the D Junior. Let's see what we have here. Yes, we do. We have a Fishman Sonotone with a USB port that does have a preamp already installed in it. So it's good to go right out of the box. So no worries on the D Junior, just plug it into your computer or plug it into your amp. Either way, it'll work. Maury's Music. How soon will the D13E and the GP13E be shipping to dealers? They're being built right now. So they should be here in a couple weeks, would be my guess. And so they'd be shipping to dealers probably in February. So there you go, Maury. You'll have them soon, buddy. Jim Dunbar, are the D35s available now? They're in production as we speak, right this moment. I would expect you would start to see those in the stores sometime late February and March. If you're in Europe or overseas, I wouldn't expect to see them until probably at least April. Isaac the Luthier, are there any changes to the Standard Series this year? No changes to the Standard Series this year right now. I might look for some changes to come into Modern Deluxes probably at the summer show. But right now the Standard Series is pretty set. As you know, with COVID this year, it was really, really difficult to get all the products that we were able to get done. So that really pushed back some of our development time on other things. So we had to be really careful about which products we chose to bring to the show or not. I saw a lot of manufacturers this year really chose not to bring anything. But obviously here at Martin, we're working hard. We've got more new models than we know what to do with, so we're having to pace them out nice and slow. David Kellogg, any plans for a 28 level of the SC shape? There's been a lot of discussion about the SC shape and where we're going to move that product line and how we're going to expand upon it. I would expect that you will see more products coming out of Navajoa in the 10s and 11s as we go forward. I think you're going to see a custom shop piece come out this year, and we're having discussions about whether or not to move that SC shape into the standard line. But there's a lot of tooling involved in that, so it may take us a little bit of time to get that done because we were kind of put, as I said before, put behind schedule due to COVID. Denmark, what is the binding made of on the FSC models? Let me see. There's no binding on the 00L, and usually, I'm trying to remember. I'll be honest with you, Dan, I'm not positive. I think most of them, it's going to be an ABS plastic on most of the FSC models, unless if there's any binding. We've done some with ebony before, but I think on the Uke, there's no binding on that one. And the one out of here I think is an ABS plastic. Not positive. Don't quote me. You might want to go look on the website, martin.com. All the specs are on there. You'll be able to check that out yourself. Sorry I wasn't better on that one. Larry Harris. How is the Navajoa factory doing these days? Are the X series still going strong? The Navajoa factory is doing great. They've had the same COVID issues to deal with that everybody else has, but they're running strong. The X series is probably stronger than it's ever been. As you know, last year we made some changes to that. We updated some of the HPL patterns, put some wood necks on some of the instruments, not the traditional Stratobond necks that had been on it in the past. So that really accelerated sales on the X series. So I don't think the X series has ever been any stronger than it is right now. And the team in Navajoa continues to expand their capabilities, and they can do more and more products down there. And you'll see more and more products at those price points. John Contreras, are the Gilmours coursed with a double bass string? Double bass string. I'm not sure if I understand that question all the way. It's traditional 12-string stringing on the 12 string and pretty traditional stringing on the 6 string, obviously. So nothing special there. I think it's Tarde Carmelo. Why did you guys start with using fine veneers in the 13 series? This is a good question. We started with the fine veneers in the 13 series because we wanted to find a way to get exotic wood features at a more affordable price point. And the only way we could really do that is to use a veneer, not with a solid wood. So as the Zeracotes on the 13 this year, which are normally a custom shop wood, but when you do it in a veneer, we can lower the price point. And we felt like the 13 series was the top end that we were producing in Navajoa, and that was where we felt like the market was richest, to be honest with you, where we had the most consumers who were looking to get some of those kinds of products. So just from a pricing standpoint, that's where we felt like consumers would benefit the most from seeing it. Michael asked, will there be any opportunity for ukulele-only shops to carry Martin? I would probably have to ask that question of our sales team in general, but I would think they'd be open to that. We're making a bigger push on ukuleles. We want to be a bigger player in the ukulele market. Martin was one of the biggest players in the ukulele market back in the 1920s when it was as huge as it was. And it's even bigger now. So yes, I would think we will be open to that, but I don't want to be presumptuous and speak for the sales department on that one and give you an absolute. But look into it. I'm sure they'd be happy to talk to you. Dan Burns, author. Tell us about the case for the Dave Gilmour D35-6. So it is the blue plastic case that we used to use back in the late 60s, early 70s. That was Dave's choice. That was the case he wanted. So that's why we went with that particular case. So somebody's asking a little bit about the labels, what's on them, how are they signed. So yeah, we do have labels on the Dave Gilmour. I think that's one of the key pieces to this. David doesn't do a lot of autographs and a lot of signatures. He's not out doing that kind of thing. So getting him to sign the labels was important. So we have David's signature on there, and I believe we also have Chris's signature on the instrument. There's a little story about those labels. We sent them regular square labels, and David was pretty broad with his signature, and as you know, on a D35, it's a wedge in the back and the label has to fit inside. So there were some of the labels where we had a really hard time cutting them where they would fit, and we could fit David's signature in there without cutting it off. So that was our fault. We should have gave him clearer markers, to be honest with you, but that's where it goes. Let's see. Will you be making a baritone scale? Actually, we've done some prototypes. We have quite a few protos. Tim Teal, our lead designer, is in love with baritones, and so we have played with the baritone scale length quite a bit. What holds us back from doing baritones is that the market is very small, and the tooling costs are high here in the United States to do that kind of thing. So it's sometimes hard to justify from a business standpoint doing a baritone, but I'm sure through the custom shop we will be doing one or two. You'll see something come out probably in the next 24 months that'll have a baritone. That will be a baritone scale. Let's see, Maury's, approximately how many new models didn't make an appearance here today because of the pandemic? I think I reported, we were having a discussion with some of the other officers of the company that we probably have another 28 models scheduled and slated for the next year and a half that we could have pulled any of those forward. We had looked at updating the Authentic series as something that we had originally planned for January, but we just could not get it done in time because of the pandemic. We had some other custom products that we partnered with other vendors to work with us, and because of the pandemic, obviously that put the squeeze on them and it put the squeeze on us. So we have a lot of models, and I think 28's on the low end. By the time we get there, 30, 35 new model possibilities coming up. Pretty exciting. We're pretty excited. Michael, let's see. I'm trying to read another one. I recently played one of your new SC13 models and was very impressed with the playability and electronics. Have any changes been made or introduced on this model? No. Once again, we had plans to produce 3,000, 3,500 of those new SC13Es. 2020 happened. It took us all year to get those out. We really didn't have an opportunity to do more or make any big changes that like we originally planned. We did have some new SC models planned for January, but we've pushed them out to future shows. So that will be a little, you'll see a lot more coming on the SC. And it's a great guitar, and it's a great platform, and we've just begun to sort of scratch the surface of what we can do with that. We have a lot more ideas, a lot of custom ideas, a lot of stuff to do on the SC, so that'll be a big part of our plans going forward. What was the inspiration for the J16E12? Was it the jumbo baritone? Thanks, James. That's a good question. Actually, I was speaking to Tim Teal about the J16 12-string, and it's really his design. And he told me he was actually inspired because he was playing a Guild from the early 70s, a 12-string Guild from the early 70s, and that really got him excited about that, about doing a 12-string. And we always thought that the Grand J was a good body shape for a 12-string, and as I said earlier in the presentation, having those 3 tone bars that are progressively scalloped towards the edges really makes that come alive and really makes that 12-string something special. Let's see, we have time for, wait a minute, we got Mark McDonald, let me get this in. Proud owner of a 00042, an OMC Ambertone, a D1228. Thank you very much, we appreciate that. Can you advise how far behind the custom shop is retroactive March shutdown? Custom shop is probably working on at least a 6-month backlog right now, even prior to March. So right now, it's even further than that. So a lot of it depends on the models or what you're ordering as a custom. If you order something with hide glue, obviously the lead time is much, much longer. And if you order something that's very simple, that's maybe just a small modification to a 28 or something along those lines, then it'll be less than 6 months. You could get it in 3 to 4 months, depending on how quickly it gets into the schedule. So this will be our last question. Let everybody know that. One more. Let's see. Mr. Carmelo, are you going to make a 6-string version of the Grand J16E? I would imagine that there will probably be a 6-string version available quickly, especially if the 12-string goes well. It's a very, very cool guitar, and plus working on that 16 platform with that thin 000 body thickness, makes it a much more comfortable guitar to play than the regular Grand J, which is a pretty big guitar, so you better be a pretty big person to reach around and play that particular guitar. So I think you could see one of those coming in the future, absolutely. So thank you everyone for all the questions. We really appreciate you watching. I want to say goodbye from a snowy Nazareth, Pennsylvania, Martin Guitar. Thanks everyone, bye-bye.